Circuit Breaker by Layli Long Soldier and Ellen van Neerven.
Hello, it is an honor to speak again, to understand deeply, to negotiate what's private and public in the arts. You describe working in relation with others, a process that respects and honors them, family, and incidents I did not have words or understanding for. Colonization, a colossal mind game. Well said. I like your idea. I was moved. I look forward to working without threat of censorship. Is censorship something you deal with?
Dear, there's something we feel in our body.
Try affirming, being, beginning, preparing, mourning, living, to understand, to stay sober, to get an education, to make art, to offer good, to offer an example, a new day, a giant push against the wall, opening up, responding authentically, working with what you got, building daily, transforming by language, crawling in a footnote, blazing in a title, not being defined, being a relative, being yourself.
My mentor insisted I must be well read. So 12 years ago, I began reading First Nations literature here and abroad. I've been thinking about how incidences shaped my childhood. It's interesting, emotional and intellectual balance.
Real work, chance, sense, solidarity, connection, presence, collective, purpose, questions, aunties, cousins, mom. Really recognize difficult, guilt, soul, wake, mutual, possible, safe, stable, care, still exist.
I feel the cycle of trauma, abuse, and pain keeps stacking on unless there is a circuit breaker, which means land back, which means get our people out of jails and poverty, which means better health outcomes and autonomous lives. I challenge myself with words and themes and the physicality of the story. I write sometimes in an intellectual, heavy way.
To open up to respond as genuinely as possible, to offer hope. We want things to change, weaving solidarity from place and history into collective purpose. Is it enough? Sometimes I write in a more emotional, heavy way. We are saying, colonizers and settlers, do you see yourself? Because we do. We all do. The cruelty that informed your treatment of our people still exists. It's no secret. And so we are curious how things are going to unfold. Things are crumbling quickly. We feel like the world is waking up. We are holding up the mirrors. Our parallel histories are rising. We wonder if the US and Australia are ready to see what's below the surface, within the soil of these places. I mean, really face it. Colonizers and settlers, I don't think you are. I don't think you are really ready to see, admit, face the torture, the heartbreak, the dehumanization. It burns us to our bones. We are tired of being an object, a thing. The real changes we need are going to be slow coming because it's deep change, ideological, spiritual, and generational.
Note, it's okay to share anything with me. I hope I can offer much of the same. I wrote earlier, actually, before your email, when we saw the news of the mass child graves found at former residential schools. I received a lot of phone calls from family who felt distressed and triggered by the news, despite it being so far away. It links to our own history, genocidal history, and violence here, and the imperative of truth telling, justice, and healing. My cousin said she was thinking of 2 schools nearby where she knows there's souls that have not been put to rest. We are all thinking of those children and those families and those survivors. I can't believe the mayor called the burnings of the church a hate crime. It's telling when settler colonizers see buildings as more sacred than First Nations peoples. Temperatures soared in BC. Many people passed away from the heat wave. I couldn't help but think country was speaking back. The destruction of peoples and destruction of the environment are intrinsically linked.
Ellen, I think this is your page.
We're in a time of questions and mourning, thinking a lot about intergenerational struggles. What is that sense we feel removed from our minds? I was hit by the weight of your last email. I started to write that sadness, overwhelmed. So I didn't. This transfer of energy, vulnerabilities, I felt transfixed, only getting up once to make soup.
We call our homelands country, but I find myself tied to the city with the pandemic, work, and looking. All we want to do is to create on our terms, to be free of the city and white people. I can see the difference it makes in my child to honor their walk in this world. I still have a lot to learn and I make mistakes. We're here with relatives in the grasses and plains. We're here right now, just being ourselves.
And I believe we carry unresolved trauma, as in, I believe the colonial project is alive and wears many masks, as in, I believe in questioning everything, something you picked up on. Dear, Minyangu is a word I think you mean, as in, why? What for? The interrogating.
Strange how we are forced to answer the questions our parents could not, such as, does the intergenerational load get lighter or heavier? I refrain from making a statement so as not to disrespect my elders. Strange how we are forced to answer the questions our parents could not.
Yet, I wanted to end on something I wrote earlier. I am asked, why this story? If solidarity is a framework for poetic dialogue, I respond, what do you think?